So I debated on making a little ranty video the other day, and I didn't really decide against it or decide for it. I just kind of, it was kind of one of those things where I just kind of let go because I just didn't have the time or didn't feel like taking the time to make the video. Plus, usually when I do shit like this, I like to actually have some real content for that day. So that way I'm not just like having a gap in content and then I post up some video of me talking shit. But every once in a while, I like to blow off steam and talk shit, so gonna do that. Couple things, actually. And one of them just remembering as I started recording this. Um, so the other day, I had a guy hit me up for prices. And this happens quite a bit, right? And rarely does it go good. Like I had Fabian, the guy I just shipped the GSR head for the other day. He hit me up, or he kind of like, dropped a comment on a build K-Series head I had. And he's like, oh, if this was a B series, I'd definitely buy it. And I'm like, well, we could definitely make that happen. And I didn't expect him to bite on it. I'm just saying, like, you're commenting on this, like you would buy it if I had the other thing. And well, I could definitely do that, which is true. I could definitely do that, but it's still a bit of a pain in the ass to build and to find. So I said that, and then I got DM'd, and we talked about it. I was like, well, it'd be expensive, and I can't even tell you exactly how much. It might be $1,200, it might be more. And I think I wound up charging him like $1,100 in the end, which I think at the end of the day, because of the extra effort that you have to go to put that head, to take it apart and put it together, I think that I should have charged more. But considering the wait time he had, I was just whatever. I'm not regretting that or anything. But I think in the future, it's going to raise my benchmark a little bit more on prices. I don't think I'm going to do B Series VTEC heads at that price anymore. It does take a lot more labor. My hands were destroyed putting that fucking head together, and taking it apart. So yeah. Anyway, besides the point, people all the time just like to drop in like, well, hey, how much for this? Hey, how much for that? But they're not really trying to buy anything. They're just assuming that because of how I operate, I don't have a storefront or whatnot, that I'm just some fucking guy that I do cheap work. And, and again, while I may be cheaper than a lot of the bigger shops because I don't have the same expenses they do, it doesn't mean that I do anything cheap. So when you're coming to me looking and expecting to find Facebook market prices for a fucking rebuilt engine or head, that's just not happening. And it happens all the time where people drop in and they get prices and they fucking bounce. Well, one night I had a guy in Canada insist on it, like, getting a long block for me. I don't really do long blocks, not really so much because I don't ship them anymore, because I'm definitely able to do that. It's just because it's really expensive. So when I tell somebody the price of a long block, they're going to usually run for the hills. So I try to tell this guy it's going to be several $1,000s. He was still persistent on fucking talking to me about prices. So after 2 days, I went and I made a fucking list. And it took a while to assemble the list, because not only do I have to get all the parts accounted for together, but then I also have to factor in labor. And of course, I like to be fair with my prices, so I don't want to fucking charge too much, but I definitely don't want to cheat myself and charge too little. So I have to sit and stew on it for a while and think about exactly what goes into every fucking thing I'm doing, and then try and condense it all down to one solid price. Now, I think that the ballpark range of was like around $3,300, some shit like that, plus shipping or whatnot. And it's not a super extensive build. It was just pretty much a K20 with piston swap, but a real K20 with the big boy rods and whatnot. So the guy wanted to chat up and have a friendly conversation after. And again, I don't mind that, but it just depends on how you come at me. Don't fucking engage me one way to try and get something else, because that's just, I feel like you're wasting my time. Time is money, and that pisses me off. So the guy hit me up forever, talking back and forth, and then he just disappears, bro. Fucking vanishes into the wind. So I give him a price, and because he's telling me like I'm ready to move forward with this, I just need a price, and then he fucking bounces. He just zonks out. I don't hear from him again. That shit is upsetting. So then, another guy recently, what kind of like was one of the two triggers for this video was, it's like, well, how much for this? Like, so I was like, look, again, I don't have a set price. I have a set price for all my basic builds, because those are the ones that people ask for the most. If you're looking at a $1,500 short block with cast pistons and forged rods, then just use that as a baseline to think it's going to be several $1,000s more if you're wanting something for seriously high horsepower. All right, because not only do you need forged pistons, which are several $100s more than the cast pistons, but depending on which block you're going with, you're gonna need also cylinder reinforcement, and then also the machine work, because I'm not gonna just do stock bore blocks for high horsepower. If you're trying to cross past 500 and go high, I'm gonna make you go through the bore and hone and all that bullshit. So is just in the DMs all the time asking for prices or whatnot. I have the website for prices, guys. Go to the website, check it out. And like, again, I don't have every fucking build on there because most of you guys don't really go for those. So I don't want to sit down and take the time just yet to go through every fucking possible potential outcome when people aren't even ready for that, and then it's a frustrating thing, to waste my time for something that nobody even gives a fuck about. So I used to do shit like that in the beginning because I didn't have an audience. So I was kind of like casting my net out to see what was going to bring people in. 3 or 4 years down the line, I know what people are looking for, what people expect. So I know what to avoid wasting time on versus, what to invest time in. So investing time in to these 700, 800, 1,000 horsepower builds for once a year to sell it, it's just, it's whatever. I'm not really hyped on that. I will do it eventually. I'm just not at that point yet. I don't feel the need. So the only thing I can do there to kind of like knock those fucking people back is just tell people I'm going to charge for a quote. And it seems stupid. Like, why would you charge for a quote? Well, it's not something that takes zero effort. Now, if I can name you the price off the top of my head, it's fine. But I can't for every one of these builds. There's way too many different combinations. It gets very, you for one build, you could have literally 4 different prices for one build. So it becomes a thing that's aggravating just to give you a fucking hypothetical, a look that you're most likely not even going to bite on. So if I'm going to do that for people, I'm going to charge you $20 fucking $20 fee for a quote, and then that way, at least if you fuck off, I'm not losing the time. That's not even what I make hourly. I make $27 an hour, and sometimes it can take 30 to 45 minutes to make a goddamn quote, depending on what range you're looking at. Hey, what, can I get a build this way? Or what about if I do it this way? Or what about if I do it this way? That could take upwards to an hour. And, and it fucking sucks to put that kind of effort into a personalized build list for somebody that just fuck off. Right? And I only have so much memory on my phone, so I'm not just going to keep every fucking quote that I build. And I don't feel like transferring everything over to the fucking website. There was on the website where I had prices that were underpriced for a while that I could potentially take a hit on, and I still didn't update the prices for like almost a month. Right? So there's that. Another thing is too, there's a lot of guys that like to come through and they've been following me for a long time on social media or whatnot, and they'll like to start off the conversation like, hey, I've been following you for a long time. And when they start that shit, I usually know it's gonna be some fucking guy who may have been clicked the follow button a couple years ago but doesn't regularly watch. And then it's pretty quick. 9 out of 10 times these people snitch on themselves, right? Hey, I've been following you for a long time, but I got a question about this. And then that question they ask is literally about something that I uploaded like a week ago. Like, if you'd been watching me on a regular, you would have already seen me talk about that. All right. And then you can also remedy this situation, like with snitching on yourself, just by doing a basic search. So another one of these things that people think is, it's easy, and they don't understand why I get pissed off about it, right? When they're like, they come to me, hey, I've been following you for a long time. I want to know if I can do this with that, right? So you're just coming to me to ask me for advice. You're not asking me for fucking work. You're asking me about something I've already talked about multiple times. You've asked me about something I just posted like a week ago. And then you're like, well, can I get just a yes or no answer? No, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. You don't deserve anything from me. I don't have to tell you anything. Until you go kiss my fucking ass. You can go and search for it, right? If you really want to show solidarity and support for me, like, you're trying to flatter me to get my fucking attention. So why don't you just skip all that bullshit, go straight to the YouTube search bar, search for the fucking content, pull it up yourself and watch it. It's already there. I've already given it to you. You just don't feel like taking the time. You just want a quick yes or no answer. Well, a lot of times, even when you get a yes or no answer, there's still nuance to that yes or no. You have to understand the information behind what makes that decision a yes or no answer. So, and that's the kind of shit that also spreads misinformation sometimes, when people just like, well, this said this can be done, or this said that can be done, or that can't be done, or this can't be done. Well, you have to understand the circumstances and situations for every one of those scenarios, why it can or can't be done, because that might change with a small difference, right? So I don't like doing that. And then like, or can't you just give me a link? Fuck that shit, bro. Go find your own fucking link. Why the fuck are you coming to me asking, bro? And this is, again, one of those times where I feel like I answer way too many fucking people. There's not too many people who do this shit that I do that spend the time to go through and answer every fucking comment, to answer every fucking DM. And every time I get to the point, at least once or twice a year, where I think that I'm just going to step away from it and not answer anybody. but it's because shit like that gets annoying. And it's always the fucking people who never spend money. It's always the people who just come through to ask for random shit that are the ones that always get on my fucking nerves. And it's not always about like you have to add, you have to spend money with me. It's just that for somebody to come through to grill me on a million questions of content that I've already made and covered, it's frustrating. And it's like, this is what I do. This is the reason why I do it. So that way you don't have to come to me to ask. And again, this is something I've talked about for years. The reason why I started the YouTube channel is because I wanted to help people. There's a lot of people out there who don't have info that just need one or two little pieces of advice or whatnot to get started with something they're going to do. And I've even had people, another fucking thing that's kind of insulting. I've had people come to me to ask me for my advice and then take their shit to somebody else to build. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, I had a guy came through one time and asked about, a build. And then months later comes back and says, hey, could you sell me a K24 crank? And I'm like, yeah, I could do that, And then he's like, hey, could you ship the crank to JBRE because they're building my engine and I need a crank? And then asking me like, are you sure this fucking crank is healthy? I can't take another hit. Suck my fucking dick, bro. As if I don't fucking check my goddamn crankshafts. As if I don't fucking check them out to see what the fuck I'm building with, right? Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's something I can pick up and look at it with my fucking eyes and easily measure with a tool that it's not bad. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. And then, like, you're complaining about the prices of another shop when you could have got it from me fucking cheaper. And now you're coming to me to fix a fucking problem because because your budget's tight after you already went to these other people. So that's another thing, too. I'm willing to work on you with payments. I'm willing to work on you with your budget, and I'm understanding, and we can find a way to work things out. If you're serious, if you come to me with money in hand, versus going to one of these other shops who are fucking enormous, charge you a large amount of money, and they really don't give a fuck about your problem situations. They're not going to care because they've already got 100 other guys lined up, thousands of phone calls on a daily that they're ready to get to the next one. Generally speaking, for me, I'm busy every month. I'm busy every weekend. It's going to be a long time before I can see that I'm not busy. Even when I don't have active customers like that are already waiting for things, I have enough busy shit around the house to keep me going to get stuff ready to sell. I have a giant stash of oil pumps. I have literally, like, if all the oil pumps I have stashed are healthy and ready and can sell after being modified, I have like $1,000 worth of oil pumps sitting. And for the fact, I know the single cams will sell for sure. Like, so I just haven't had time to cut them. Like, I got to open them. I got to measure them out, inspect them. And then I got to kind of grind them out, port them, then sell them to make that money. I haven't had time to do that. And, I've got, I had heads that need to be done. Now I've got a couple blocks that need to be done. I've got another head that is lined up this weekend. And of course, potentially at any time, somebody can hit me up with another order. So yeah, it's all frustrating to see the lack of care and the fact that how fucking privileged people feel. And, Kenny was talking about this a couple days ago too, and I've seen him also bitch about it a couple times about how people will hit you up for a price list. You'll spend an hour on the phone talking to somebody, giving somebody details on all the ways they could build their engine. And they're like, thank you for your help. I'll let you know how it goes out with my build when they go to somebody else. Now, the difference between me and Kenny is the fucking receptionist. I don't have a receptionist. I am the boss, the receptionist, the engine builder, the mechanic. I have to do all this shit myself. So when I'm already so busy with so much other shit for you to come through and waste my time, that fucking sucks. So again, thousands of people fucking watch this channel. I get, regular uploads or a couple hundred views, right? It may not seem like a lot, but still several hundred people watching my shit, right? Now, if you put all that shit in together, that could be a lot of time of people consuming with just questions and whatnot. And I'm always trying to answer. So, while there may be a handful of you guys out there who think I'm an asshole because I didn't answer you the way you wanted, there's still several hundred people, potentially thousands of people out there who already know that I'm a real dude to fuck with because, I'll give you the information. But you got to give me something too. You got to show me a little effort. For you to be coming and ask me shit that I've already talked about a whole bunch of times while trying to simultaneously, flatter me so that way I'll give you what you want, that doesn't work with me, man. That doesn't work at all. Like, I'll know whether you've watched or not, Anyway, that's it. End of rant. And, yeah, social media links are down in the description below. I do have a website, guys, vhbengines.com. It's not super comprehensive, but it gives you a ballpark idea on the things I deal with. I would recommend that you use the website as a browsing tool and not an actual tool to order from. Guys, if you order off the website will smack you up with a large tax. Depending, of course, the larger the dollar item you buy, the bigger the tax is going to be. Also, the website hits me with a tax. So every time I spend money, not only are you getting taxed from them, but I also am getting charged. So I don't get my complete fucking money from the website when I get paid. So the only way to make that work properly is to raise the price on the website. So if I raise the price on the website to make sure I don't take a hit, then what the price you're seeing isn't going to be the actual price. Because if you come to me directly, you're going to get the actual price. So to reflect that, I try to keep the prices as close as possible as what I'm going to tell you on the website. And also, again, you got to remember that almost everything is built to order. I don't just have shit laying around to go. All right, so there's that. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and peace.